Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Tiffany, and today's video is not going to be a makeup tutorial. It's going to be my labor and delivery story time with this little boy right here. So for everybody that doesn't know, I was pregnant. If y'all don't know, where the hell have y'all been? But for those of you that also don't know this, I had the baby and I had him December 22nd at 6:03 a.m. So thank God. If you guys are interested in listening and hearing and yada 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 my labor and delivery story time, then just keep on watching. Okay, so where do I start? Okay, so this is going to be kind of, I'm gonna try not to make it like too graphic or like nasty, but I will tell you guys what happened. So December 20th, it was a Friday. That night, probably late that night, probably like 10 or 11 ish, I had lost my mucus plug. For those of you that don't know what it is, go look it up. I don't want to explain what it is because I don't want to be like too graphic or whatever on here. So I lost my mucus plug, so I knew that meant I was either going to labor really soon, or like not so much that day or the next day, but like at least within the next coming days. So me and Brian were up all night watching NCIS. I'm pretty sure we were watching NCIS, and so I don't think we went to bed until probably 5 o'clock in the morning, maybe like 4:30, 5 o'clock. So we went and laid down. I think I maybe laid down and got maybe like 30-45 minutes of sleep, like at most an hour. And I started having contractions that morning at the 21st around like 6:30 a.m. So mind you guys, the 21st is our anniversary. So we was gonna go, I'm pretty sure, to Outback, because that's one of my favorite restaurants. We was gonna go to Outback or whatever that day for our anniversary. Me, Brian, and Aiden were gonna go, but obviously after a while having contractions, I knew that wasn't gonna happen. So I started having contractions at 6:30. I think I texted my dad. I waited to see if I kept having them because I was having like false contractions a lot, like over that last 2 weeks I was pregnant. So I called my dad. When I texted my dad and told him I was having contractions, steady contractions, you know, so he could hit the road, so he can come to here, because he was going to stay at the house with Aiden while we went to the hospital, so Aiden didn't have to be at the hospital irritated and agitated and all that. So I basically just am laboring at home, because they say I don't think you're in active labor until you're like 5-6 centimeters or something. So I was trying to, you know, stick it at home as long as possible. So I got up, got in the shower. My contractions since the morning were like no more than 6-7 minutes apart. So they were pretty close all day. And so I took a shower, went, you know, I think I ate breakfast. I'm not really sure. Sat down on the couch, watched some TV, tried to chill out a little bit, but the contractions, obviously, they kept coming and they were getting more frequent and they were getting more painful. So I tried to let Brian sleep, but my stepmom ended up calling me while I was still in bed before I even got up to shower, I'm pretty sure. And I was loud on the phone. She was loud on the phone, so we broke Brian up kind of, but he didn't get out of bed at that point. But I did get up and get in the shower. I left out the room so he can relax and all that jazz. So I'm in the living room. I'm having contractions. I'm timing them on my little app. I will leave the app down below for any of you that are interested in timing your contractions on the app or whatever the case may be. Hopefully I didn't delete it. But so I was timing my contractions and they were getting a little bit closer together, but they were still kind of irregular. So some of them would be 3 minutes apart, some of them would be 5 minutes apart, some of them would be 7 minutes apart, some of them would be 2 minutes apart. So they were kind of all up and down. My dad ended up getting here, I think, at like 3 or 4, something like that. But so we're at home. We stayed at home. We ended up leaving to go to the hospital because they were getting more and more frequent and more painful. Probably at like 2 o'clock. And they were like painful to the point where I couldn't talk through them. Like I could talk through them in the morning. At this point, I was kind of like to the point where I was like, okay, wait one, let me relax, let me chill out before, you know, while this contraction is happening, because this is ridiculous. So for those of you that don't know, okay, I didn't go into labor on my own with Aiden. So I did get induced and I was already at the hospital. I didn't have to go, you know, I wasn't laboring at home. I didn't go to the hospital while I was in labor and none of that. I got induced at the hospital. So I didn't have none of this happen when I was pregnant with Aiden, because I was never in labor at home. So this time I knew all, you know, what was supposed to happen. So I wasn't so much nervous and I wasn't panicking at all. I just was like, okay, well, this is happening. Because since I didn't go into labor with Aiden on my own, I wasn't really sure like what exactly, you know, what time to go to the hospital or whatever the case may be. So we ended up going to the hospital at like 2:30, 2:45. And they admit me in triage. They don't admit me to the hospital, but they admit me to triage. And they want to monitor my contractions. So they start monitoring my contractions. They can't pick them up on the freaking monitor, and I'm pissed off because I'm like, what the hell do you mean you can't be not picking these shits up on the monitor? These joints hurts, okay? They hurt. You're lying. You ain't gonna tell me. Y'all hear me in this room like so y'all not about to tell me y'all hear me in here making all this noise like I think I'm in here pretending. Like, I don't want to be in the hospital if I don't gotta be in the hospital. If I was not in labor, trust and believe I would not be in here, okay? I wouldn't be here. So they couldn't pick them up on the monitor frequently. So they would pick up like every couple of contractions, but they wouldn't pick up, I have eyeshadow powder in my hand, but they wouldn't pick up all the contractions at one time. So that was pissing me off. So they were like, okay, well, they checked my cervix and I was only 3 centimeters dilated, which is big for me because you're not dilated at all with Aiden. So I'm in my head, I go into this thinking I want to do a VBAC. I want to have a vaginal birth after cesarean. That was my plan going into the hospital. That was my plan when I got pregnant. That was my plan the whole time. It didn't change. I'm sorry, I'm not digging at my nose, but my nose itches. So that was what I had going into my mind. So every time somebody would come in there, they would say, well, is this what you want to do? You want to do a VBAC? You want to try for a VBAC? Yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. So my answer would always be yes. So they were like, do you want to go and walk around the hospital, or do you want to go home? Do you live far away from the hospital? We don't live far away from the hospital. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just go home, labor at home a little bit more, and then we'll come back. So my dad was at the house by this point. So we met him at the house. And I was trying to relax and watch TV with my dad, you know, kiki with him. And my contractions were getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. But they said, don't come back for 2 hours. So we were in the house and like, they're so bad. Like, I'm sitting down, I gotta stand up when I have a contraction. I'm standing up, I gotta sit down when I'm having a contraction. I'm kneeling over, I gotta stand up straight. I'm standing up straight, I gotta bend over. You know, like, it was just all over the place. My life was in shambles. Very much so. So we ended up going back to the hospital. Like she said, come back at 6. I was like, we need to leave at the house at 5:45, okay? Because at 6 o'clock I'm trying to be at this hospital because I don't got time. So we go back to the hospital. They check me again. They put me back in triage. They put me back on the monitor. I'm still, I think at this point I'm 4 centimeters dilated, but they still didn't want to admit me. So they're like, okay, well, I think they wanted to wait to admit me until I was at least 5 centimeters. But at this point my contractions are getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So mind you, it's 6 o'clock. I started having contractions at 6 a.m. This is now 6 p.m. So they're like, okay, well, can you go walk around the hospital? So I went and I walked around the hospital. We went downstairs. I think I did 1 lap around downstairs in the hospital. And the contractions got so bad to the point where I could not walk anymore. Like, it was even a struggle just getting back upstairs to labor and delivery because the contractions were so bad and they were so close together that just walking, it wasn't even helping me at all. Because at that point, if I'm having a contraction every 2 minutes, I'm not getting very far because I'm waddling through the hospital and I'm contracting. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm not getting this, and this is counterproductive because I'm not moving enough to be getting my, you know, dilated anymore. So we came back upstairs. It was this rude ass lady that was up in triage. I don't know who she was. She was a nurse, I'm sure, but I don't know her name. And she was like, it's normal to stop when you're having contractions. I said, sis, I get that. I've been having contractions. I understand. I said, but when it gets to the point where I'm barely walking because I'm having so many contractions, this seemed like it is counterproductive, ma'am. Okay, fix it before I kirk off in here. So I'm, you know, I'm a little irritated at this point. So I'm like, y'all about to tell me I'm not far enough along in my dilating that y'all not finna keep me. Cause I ain't going nowhere, right? So I'm in there, I'm on the bed, like my contractions are so bad at this point. And I don't know if my contractions were so bad because I had a previous cesarean, and you know, obviously they cut you open, or they cut through all your junk to get to the baby. So I'm not sure if that's why my contractions were so bad, because they started off pretty painful. Like they weren't unbearable, but they started off pretty painful. So I'm not sure if that lends to the fact of my contractions being so bad, the fact that I had a cesarean prior to, but they were so bad at this point, like I could barely breathe. Like they're like, breathe through your contractions. I could barely breathe at this point. Like I'm hunched over, like I'm on the bed laying down, but I'm propped up, so like I'm laying in the bed like this. Every time I have a contraction, I'm like digging my heels into the bed. My toes are like curled into the bottom of my feet. Like I'm squeezing the top of the freaking bed. It's ridiculous. Let me tell y'all, labor is no freaking joke. And all I'm thinking in my head was, I want my drugs. Admit me so I can get my drugs, sis. That was all I could think in my head. Please give me my drugs. Like, for real, please, I need my drugs. So I guess they figure I'm doing the most. So I think they checked me again. I think I was still only 4.5 centimeters dilated or something like that. So it was taking me a while to dilate, at a good 14 hours at this point, for me to still only be dilated 4.5 centimeters, almost 5. So I guess they figure, okay, well now, you know, whatever, we'll admit you. So they admitted me. I went in my room. My nurse that was in the room with me all night, okay, all night, and that helped birth this baby, Nurse Tammy, let me tell y'all something. Nurse Tammy was a real one, okay? I don't think you can request no nurses at a military hospital, but anybody that's at Fort Bragg, Womack Medical Center, okay, let me tell y'all, request Nurse Tammy if you're in labor and delivery, because Nurse Tammy holds you down, okay? So they take me in my room. Well, I walk to my room. They didn't show me where it's at. I walk to my room. The nurse comes in. As soon as she comes in, let me tell y'all, as soon as she comes in, she says, do you want an epidural? I need to know right now, because the anesthesiologist is about to go to do a cesarean. He about to be in there with the person getting a cesarean, being in there with her. So if you want epidural, you need to get it now, because he ain't finna be out here. I said, yes, bring me my drugs, ma'am. Thank you. So she got them to bring me my drugs, and this anesthesiologist was the GOAT, okay? The GOAT. He did my epidural so quick, okay? They asked my husband to step outside. He was in the room when I got my epidural with Aiden, but they asked him to step outside, which was fine. He went to the waiting room, and Nurse Tammy was in my face. She was right here. She was holding on. She was like, listen, I'm gonna hold on to you. I'm gonna hold on to you. You hold on to me. You need to squeeze, you squeeze. You need to blow, you blow. You need to do anything you need to do, you do it. I'm right here. I got you. We here. I'm like, Nurse Tammy, you is the bomb, okay? You and anesthesiologist was the bomb. So we in there. I gave my epidural. So he's doing it. He did it quick too. He did it quick, and it was as painless as it could possibly be. It wasn't painless, but it was as easy as it could have been. And when I got my first one, it was way worse for sure. I tell you that. But he did it. It was quick. We were good. So at that point, my drugs started to kick in. So I'm like, ow, yes. But my contractions were so close together. He was doing my epidural in between my contractions. So because I couldn't really sit still while I was having a contraction, I'm like on the bed, sitting on the bed, and I'm like hunched over like this, and she's like on top of me. So every time I have a contraction, like she can see on the monitor that I'm about to have a contraction, he'll like stop. He'll like, okay, let me let this contraction pass, because I could not move when I was having a contraction. There was no way in hell that I could sit and be relaxed while I was having contractions. So they let my contractions pass, and he would do it in between my contractions. So after my epidural was done, and I said I might not have been dilating as quickly as I could have been, because my body was reacting so poorly to the contractions. Like I was so tense because of the contractions, it could have had a negative effect on me actually dilating. So once my body like calmed down, I started dilating a little bit faster. Not fast, but a little bit faster. So my water still hadn't broken yet, and by the time we got admitted, I think we got admitted at like 8:30, 8:45 or something p.m. So by the time I got my epidural and all that, it was probably around like 10 when I got like settled in the room. Brian was in there, obviously. He ended up running home. He went to the gas station, I think, got himself some snacks or something. He snuck me some Mentos. He had left. They said they were gonna give me Pitocin, not because I wasn't dialing on my own at this point, but they wanted my water to break, so they didn't want to have to go in and break my water. So they put me on the Pitocin, so hopefully my water could break. And literally, they put the Pitocin on the IV. They flipped me over to the left side, because I was like on my back, I'm pretty sure. So they flipped me over to my left side, and I was on my right side. They flipped me all the way over to my left. The two nurses did. And because for those of you who don't know, when you have an epidural, you don't, from like the waist down, you feel nothing. Like everything is basically numb. Like you can feel if somebody's like touching you or something, but it just feels like, y'all know how you feel when you're numb. So basically when you get numb, when you go to the dentist, like you can feel them touching you, but you don't, it doesn't hurt. So at this point I'm numb, so they had to flip me over. And as soon as, no, I shit you not, they flipped me over, and I like rested. When I finally rested my leg down, because there was a towel in between my legs, so my leg was elevated, my top leg was elevated, and it wasn't just pressed against my bottom leg. As no sooner or no later than when I put my damn leg down and touched that pillow, my water broke, and I just felt like this gush. And it's so crazy because as soon as I felt the gush, I felt like this pressure, like the baby, he dropped down as soon as he was so high. So I was dilating, but he was so high. So they're like, well, what, you know, you can't really do much if the baby isn't dropping down, so you can push him out. So my water broke. I felt the release of like pressure. He just slid down, and I felt so much lighter at the top because he had finally slid down and settled. You know, he was getting ready, you know, to do his thing. So at that point they were like, okay, well, so they came and cleaned me up. They had said, okay, well, text your husband and tell him to come back, because you know, because at that point they checked me again, and I had dilated, I think from 5 to 8 in like an hour and a half maybe, and it moved pretty quick at that point, because I don't feel like I wasn't on the Pitocin that long. Like they took me off, I think like right after my water broke, they took me off, and if not right after, maybe like 30 minutes after my water broke, they took me off the Pitocin. So at this point I'm happy though, because with Aiden I didn't dilate at all on my own, and I dilated this much by myself. And then I think I dilated 1 centimeter more, 2 centimeters more when I was on the, but I was so proud of my body, like, oh thank God. I was so scared to do a VBAC because I never really got any positive feedback for trying to do a VBAC. It was never, oh yeah, that's a great idea, girl, you do what you gotta do, you know. Like I never got any positive feedback about it. It was always kind of negative, like, well, you already got a C-section, so if you go to try to do a VBAC, you want to tear something or something, you gonna hurt yourself or blah blah. So I was kind of up and down, but I knew I wanted to do it. I went and I set my mind to it, and I said I wanted to do a VBAC. So that is what I went in there saying I was going to do. So Brian came back, but I'm still like, I'm not to the point where they don't feel like he's down enough for me to start pushing. So at this point we're waiting for him to be further down so I can start pushing. So at this point I'm just contracting, but I have my epidural still, so it's not really a big deal. So when I finally got to 10 centimeters and he got down far enough, Nurse Tammy was like, well, do you want to try some practice pushes? Because mind y'all, I didn't push it all with Aiden. I didn't even get to 10 centimeters to push with Aiden. I didn't even get there. I didn't get there. I didn't even dilate any of my own. I only dilated when I had the Pitocin with Aiden. So they were just like, you're going to try some practice pushes. When I tell y'all, pushing was stressful. I thought my booty hole was going to fall out. I thought my eyeball was going to bust a blood clot. I thought I was going to get a blood clot. I thought I was going to bust a blood vessel. I thought it was just, pushing was just, it was next level, and it was a next level that I was not ready for, right? So I did my practice pushes, and I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And she was talking me through it, so it was pretty good. So she kept saying, dig your chin into your chest, but don't push on your butt. So I don't know what the hell she's talking about. So I'm just trying to follow as many instructions as I possibly can, so that way we all on the same page and everybody Gucci, everybody good. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing. So we did some practice pushes, and she said, okay, yeah, those were good, so they're pretty good. So Brian's looking at what's going on down there in my cha-cha. So he's trying to see what's going on. So then we waited a little bit. I don't know how long, but we waited a little bit. And my actual doctor came in. He came in and he was like, okay, well, you want to push. You're to the point where you can push. So do you want to push some? So he came, he sat down, and he was like, okay, well, when contraction comes, when you feel the pressure, push. So if you feel the pressure, and as long as I'm right here, you can push. So we did some pushes, and they ain't do nothing. So he ended up leaving. He was like, all right, I'm gonna leave because you seemed like you was doing better when Nurse Tammy was in here, and just you, Nurse Tammy, and your husband. So I'm gonna leave, and I'm gonna call me when you need me, okay? Because he was obviously gonna be the one that actually delivered the baby. So like, even though Nurse Tammy, what she did, got me to the point where his head was right there, like basically this is my coochie, this is his head, right? So to the point where this was his head coming out, she got me to that point. But he said when at that point we can call him back. So we waited like 10-15 more minutes, and so every couple of minutes when I would have my contractions, 'cause they were really close together, but she would give me a break, and then she would be like, okay, well, we're gonna try again. So you always hungry. So we ended up, trying some more pushes. So they were more progressive. So every time I would push at this point, Brian would be like, his head is right there. Like, I can see his hair. His head is right there. And obviously he had a lot of hair. He's had a lot of hair since the day he was born. So they're like, I can see his hair. Like, his head is right there. Just keep pushing, right? So I'm in my head, all I'm thinking is, I don't want to tear to my booty hole. So they were like, do you want to see what we're looking at? So, maybe that'll give you some motivation. So I was like, no, I don't really want to see, but okay. So they put the mirror right there, and I'm looking, but I'm not really looking because I'm like squeezing my eyes. And I was squeezing my eyes, and I'm looking crazy as hell because she's like, no, she's like, breathe, because I'm pushing, I'm not breathing. So we took a break. So when we finally got to the point where, mind you, our anniversary is dead and gone now. So I'm like, he's trying to steal my thunder coming on my anniversary. He was trying to steal my thunder ever since. Hi, honey. You got my weave here? Hi, honey. So he been trying to steal my thunder since day one. Look at him. Mad cute. My baby is mad cute, okay? But, so, it got to the point where, ooh, my head itch, where he was coming out enough. So when we finally got to push, and it was like, I pushed and his head finally got like right there. And so she called the doctor came in. They bought the little baby bassinet and all that, and so when the baby came out, obviously they could put him in the bassinet, all that jazz. So she was like, don't push, stop, don't push. And I'm thinking, what the Tammy, we've been right here all night. What do you mean don't push, sis? Tammy, what do you mean? So he came in, they pushed the mirror out the way, he like slid in front of me, basically pulled back the curtain, see what's going on. I ain't had no curtain, I'm just being dramatic, but he slid right there, he see what's going on. So he said, okay, the next contraction you feel, the next pressure, mind you, at this point my epidural was wearing off, okay? So I'm feeling, it's still not really pain, but at this point it's uncomfortable for me. So my epidural's wearing off, and she's like, well, that's all. She's like, that's not a bad thing. It's good that you can feel it now, so you can feel the pressure and you can feel what you need to, get where you need to go, right? So I'm like, all right, Tammy, all right, sis, all right. So he's like, okay, the next contraction you feel, I want you to push. So, oh, I know, honey. So the next contraction, I pushed, and he was like, okay. So he's like putting his finger, because I can feel this. He's putting his finger like behind the baby's head, so basically he can get over like the bone that's down there, so he can actually come out. So He's like, the next contraction you feel, he's right here. The next contraction you feel, you're good. So you know, you always envision like the baby coming out, so you got one big push for the head and then one big push after that for the shoulders and everything else to come through. When I tell y'all, I did that one last big push and his whole body came out of me, and it literally just felt like, you know, like your stomach doesn't go down right if you had a baby, but it literally felt like I was so empty, and it felt so good. Like, it was so crazy, because when I got a cesarean with Aiden, they cut him out and they took him out, right? So same kind of feeling but different, because after they took him out, when I had the cesarean with Aiden, they brought him, like, they cleaned him up, they brought him around the curtain so I can see him. I'll insert a picture so you guys can see that. And then they took him out the room and took him to a post-op where he was going to be in there and get, you know, a bath and all that. With him, since I pushed him out, as soon as I pushed him out, they like cleaned his eyes off and all that, and then like put it on my chest, and like literally he came out, he was crying. I'm like about to cry right now. Like, I was so happy. Like, everybody that said it was a bad idea for me to do a VBAC, everybody that said I wouldn't be able to do a VBAC, like, screw you guys, because I did it. I pushed my baby out. I'm like literally in tears right now. It was so amazing. The feeling of just pushing him out and then putting him on my chest was just, I'll insert a picture of that too. It was so amazing. Like, it's a feeling I cannot describe. Like, it was great when they brought Aiden around the curtain. I really wish I could have kept him when I got my C-section and they took him out the room. I wish I could have kept him. It made me so sad while I was getting sewn back up or whatever they were doing down there, and they took him. It made me so sad that he was in the room, you know, more. But after I pushed him out, they cleaned him up, like his face a little bit, and they put him on my chest. Literally, I felt like this weight lifted off of me, and it was so amazing. Like, you can never describe to somebody the feeling, because I got the same feeling, but I had to wait to hold Aiden. I wasn't allowed to hold Aiden because I was in surgery, so I wasn't allowed to hold Aiden. But when I pushed him out and they put him on my chest, it was just like this undescribable happiness that you don't know until you go through it, and nobody can ever describe it to you. But it is so amazing. Like, he just loved on me and just laid there, and he was so relaxed, and he was so big-eyed. He was just looking at me, and I was just like, I really did it. Like, it was so crazy to me. Like, I'm still so ecstatic about it. It was such an amazing thing. And Brian being right there, like, I had my brows on and everything. My brows was not really looking good, but like, they was on, and I wasn't bald head on my eyes. But like, it was such an amazing feeling. Like, it's the best feeling that I possibly could. Like, it was, I don't even know. It was amazing. Like, I really hope that, you know, you guys hearing my story and what, you know, I was able to do a successful VBAC, that if you have had cesarean and you are pregnant again and you're interested in doing a VBAC, I would definitely suggest trying, because as much as people are going to try to talk you out of it, it's honestly truly no feeling better than you pushing the baby out and then you pushing the baby out and then them just loving on you right after you have them. It is amazing, and nobody should tell you that you shouldn't be able to feel that. It is so amazing. I cried like a baby when Aiden was born because I could not hold him. That killed me, to not be able to hold him. And I said I do not want to do that again. I want to be able to hold my baby when my baby comes out. And that was my goal, and we did it. Brian was so supportive every step of the way. It was so hard. Labor was so hard on me and so hard on my body. But I'm so glad, I'm so grateful that I was able to do a VBAC, because that was all in all what I was determined to do. Nobody could talk me out of doing a VBAC. I said that's what I was going to do. That is all for this video and this story time. This is Adrian. Everybody, if you follow me on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or Snapchat, then you guys have already seen him. But this is Adrian. He is perfect. He is amazing. And I really could not. I want to say thank you to everybody. Like, I'm accepting my Grammy. I want to say thank you to everybody that supported, checked up on me while I was pregnant, my friends, and all that. Thank you guys so much, because I needed it. It was rough. This pregnancy was hard, but I'm glad it's over. He is here now. He is perfect. Look at him. He is so cute. And this is my baby. My baby. This baby looks like me. Aiden didn't look like me at all. He like his raggedy daddy, and he still do. But this baby look like me. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will be back on here with another update at my 6 weeks, so you guys know how I'm healing and all that. But yeah, like I always tell you guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm your girl Tiffany. This is Adrian, and we will see you next time.